One drop of water saved her life. The following day, an alien tribe came riding tigers with their answer. The jungle was silent that night. Too silent, a human named Daniel walked carefully through the alien forest, his boots sinking slightly in the wet ground. The air was heavy, and strange glowing plants lit the path with soft blue light. Far away, he heard the echo of creatures roaring, but they were not normal animals. Their voices carried power like thunder mixed with growls. Daniel pulled his jacket tighter. He had come to this world as an explorer, hoping to find safe routes for trade between human colonies. But this forest was not safe. His instincts screamed danger with every step. Still he pushed forward. Suddenly his foot slipped, and he almost fell. That was when he saw her. At the base of a broken tree lying on the ground was an alien girl. Her skin glowed faintly silver under the moonlight. Her long hair spread like a river of light on the soil. Her body was weak, chest rising and falling slowly as if every breath was a battle. Daniel froze. He had heard stories about these people. They were strong, proud, and dangerous. Some called them beast riders because they ruled the forests with their giant tigers. And here in front of him was one of them, wounded, helpless. For a moment his mind shouted, "Walk away, leave her." If the others found him near her, they would kill him. Humans were not welcome here. Still he could not move. His eyes met hers. And for 1 second he saw fear and pain. Her lips moved, whispering one word, "Water." The sound was weak but clear. Daniel's heart tightened. He carried a small flask at his belt. It was the last of his water supply. He hesitated, thinking about his own survival. Yet something inside told him he could not ignore this. Slowly he stepped closer. His every move was cautious. As if the jungle itself watched, he knelt beside her. Her skin was cold to the touch, her breath shallow. He opened the flask and lifted it to her lips. At first she did not move. But when the drops touched her mouth, her eyes widened slightly. They glowed faint green in the moonlight. She drank slowly, each sip bringing a little life back to her. Daniel felt strange, as if something invisible connected them the moment she drank. She looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with something he could not understand. Gratitude? Confusion? Or maybe something deeper. "Why are you here?" he whispered without thinking. But she had no strength to answer. Her eyes closed and she fainted again. Daniel sat there in silence. The jungle around him had grown even quieter. As if holding its breath, he should leave, he knew it. But his legs refused to move. Instead, he looked at her again. She was not just another alien. She was beautiful in a way he had never seen before, fragile yet powerful, like fire hidden inside ice. Finally, with a sigh, he pulled a blanket from his bag and covered her. He sat beside her, guarding the night, hoping she would not die. The hours crawled by every now and then. Strange eyes glowed from the shadows of the trees. Watching him, big shapes moved in the darkness, heavy steps like paws on the ground. Daniel kept his hand near his weapon, but none of the creatures attacked. Almost as if they were waiting, his mind raced. Who was she? Why was she alone and injured? And why did the jungle itself feel different since he found her? At dawn, the first light touched the treetops. Daniel finally relaxed for a moment, but when he turned to check on the girl, his heart stopped. She was gone. The blanket lay empty, her footprints leading into the jungle. Small, delicate, but full of strength, as if her weakness had been only a shadow. Daniel jumped to his feet. His first thought was to follow her, but then he heard something else, a sound deep and far away, a roar unlike anything he had ever heard before. It rolled through the jungle like thunder, shaking the ground beneath him. Birds burst into the air, animals scattered, and the silence returned heavier than before. Daniel stood frozen. His instincts told him that this roar was not for hunting. It was a call, a warning. Somewhere the jungle was waking up, and it was waking up because of what he had done. Daniel looked at the empty flask in his hand, still wet with the drops of water he had given her. His mind whispered the same question again and again. What have I done? He had no answer, but deep inside he knew the truth. His choice last night was not small. It was the beginning of something far greater. The jungle roared again, and Daniel knew. He was no longer just a traveler. He had stepped into a story that would change his life forever. Daniel's boots pressed softly into the wet earth as he followed the trail. The alien girl's footprints led deeper into the forest. Each step she left behind glowed faintly in the morning light, as though the soil itself had remembered her touch. The jungle around him was alive, yet something was wrong. The usual screeches of birds were gone. The buzzing of insects was gone too. The silence was too heavy. Every sound Daniel made seemed too loud, as if the whole forest was listening. He stopped, breathing slowly. His eyes scanned the shadows. He felt it, the sense of being watched not by one creature, but by many, their eyes, unseen but sharp, burned into his back. Still, Daniel kept walking. The girl had vanished too quickly, and his gut told him she had not simply walked away. She had been taken or had gone somewhere she belonged. The prince stopped near a fallen tree. Daniel crouched, touching the soil. The earth was disturbed, too wide for her small feet. Paw marks, deep and powerful, pressed into the ground, his breath caught. These were no normal animals, these were tigers, but larger than any tiger he had ever seen. Their size, their strength, it was clear from the way the earth cracked under their weight. He whispered to himself, she wasn't alone. Suddenly, the air shifted. A branch cracked behind him. He turned quickly, hand reaching for his weapon. Out of the shadows, a pair of glowing golden eyes stared at him. The air froze in his lungs. A massive tiger stepped into view, its fur striped with colors that shimmered between black and silver. Its body taller than any man, its muscles rippling like waves under the skin. But the strangest part was not the tiger. It was the rider sitting on its back, an alien warrior taller than Daniel. With dark bronze skin and glowing markings on her arms, she wore armor made of bone and leather, her spear tipped with shining crystal. Her face was calm but dangerous. Her eyes locked on him with a sharp intensity. Daniel froze. The warrior raised her hand, and the tiger growled low, a sound so deep it rattled his bones. Then behind her more shadows emerged, tigers huge and majestic, each carrying a rider. Some carried bows. Others carried spears. They moved silently. Surrounding him in a circle, Daniel's chest tightened. He knew if he moved wrong, it would be his last breath. The warrior closest to him spoke. Her voice carried strength, sharp like steel, but layered with something else, curiosity. You gave her water, she said, not asking, but stating as if she had already seen it. Daniel's lips went dry, his throat tightened. Yes, he admitted softly. The riders murmured among themselves, their voices like wind through the trees. Some looked at him with suspicion, others with anger. A few, just a few, seemed almost respectful. The warrior leaned forward on her tiger. Her eyes glowed faint green. Do you know what that means, human? Daniel shook his head. I only wanted to help. Her lips curved, not into a smile, but something between warning and amusement. You gave water to the daughter of the stars, she said. Her words dropped like stones in a still lake, and the air around them changed. Daniel frowned. Daughter of the stars? The warriors lowered their heads slightly. Not in fear, but in reverence, the leader spoke again. You touched her fate now, her fate touches yours. Before Daniel could ask more, a new sound broke the silence, drums distant but growing louder, a rhythm that shook the ground. It came from deeper within the jungle. The riders turned, their faces shifting into something fierce. Daniel felt his heart pound. The leader raised her spear high and shouted in a language he did not understand. The tigers roared in answer. The sound echoed through the trees. Shaking every branch and leaf, Daniel stumbled back. The ground beneath him trembled. From the shadows, dozens more tigers appeared, their eyes glowing, their riders dressed in ceremonial armor. They moved as one, forming a procession, and at the center of them, riding the largest tiger of all, was her. The alien girl, the one he had saved. She no longer looked weak. Her silver skin glowed brighter in the morning sun. Her hair shimmered like fire in moonlight. She wore robes of deep green and gold, symbols glowing on her skin. Her eyes found him immediately, and for a moment Daniel felt the world stop. The other warriors bowed their heads slightly as she passed. Their voices chanted softly, Daughter of the Stars. Daughter of the Stars. Daniel's heart raced. He had given water to someone far greater than just a wounded stranger. He had saved a figure they worshipped, a leader, maybe even something holy. But then came the part that truly made his breath freeze. Behind her, tiger came others carrying banners of white and red. And tied to the banners were strange objects, crowns, jewels, gifts, symbols of alliance and binding. Daniel whispered to himself, what is happening? The leader of the warriors turned back to him, her spear lowering slightly. Her voice was calm but heavy with meaning. Human, you do not understand yet, but you will. For saving her life, you are now part of her destiny. And tomorrow, when the tribe gathers, you will see what price comes with giving water to the daughter of the stars. Daniel's breath caught. His instincts screamed danger, but another part of him whispered something stranger. Not danger, but change, and he was not sure if he wanted it or feared it. The jungle opened like a stage. Daniel stood frozen as the army of tigers marched forward. Their heavy paws struck the earth in rhythm with the sound of distant drums. The air shook with every step. The rider's armor caught the light of the rising sun, glowing with strange symbols. At the center of it all was her, the girl he had saved. She no longer looked fragile, no longer weak. Her eyes burned bright like emerald fire, and the way the warriors bowed their heads as she passed told Daniel one truth. She was not just important, she was sacred. Daniel's heart thumped in his chest. He whispered to himself, "What have I done?" The leader of the warriors motioned to him. 2 tigers stepped closer, their yellow eyes pinning him in place. Their riders made no sound, they did not need to. The meaning was clear, he was to follow. Daniel swallowed hard. His human instincts screamed to run, but he knew he would never make it far. So he nodded silently and walked forward. The procession moved deeper into the jungle. Daniel walked in the middle, surrounded by tigers larger than trucks. Their breath steamed in the cool morning air, their low growls vibrating through his bones every now and then. The alien girl glanced back at him, her face unreadable. But her eyes, they were watching, testing. The path twisted and grew wider. The trees thinned. And suddenly Daniel found himself standing at the edge of a vast clearing. His breath caught. Before him stretched an alien city hidden in the heart of the jungle. Tall wooden towers rose into the air, covered in glowing vines. Bridges made of silver rope connected tree to tree. Fires burned in great bowls, filling the air with smoke and a strange, sweet scent. Thousands of alien eyes turned to look at him. The tribe had gathered, and every single one of them rode a tiger. The sight was overwhelming. The beasts were striped in colors Daniel had never seen before: blue, silver, crimson. Some bore scars like warriors. Others had markings glowing across their fur. The ground shook under their combined weight. It was like standing before a living army. Drums pounded louder. The tribe began to chant in unison. Words Daniel did not understand, but the sound alone made his blood run cold. The chant carried power, old and unbroken, like the heartbeat of the jungle itself. The girl raised her hand and the chanting stopped. Silence swept the clearing. Thousands of glowing eyes focused on Daniel. She slid gracefully off her tiger and walked toward him. Her silver skin caught the morning light. Her hair flowed like a river of fire. She stopped only a few feet away from him. Her eyes never left his then. In a voice soft but carrying across the crowd, she spoke. "This is the human," she said. "The one who gave me water," the crowd murmured. Some gasped, others bowed their heads. A few bared their teeth in what Daniel could only guess was anger. The girl continued, "By giving water he gave me life, and by our law, his life is now tied to mine." Daniel blinked, his mouth went dry. "Wait, what?" he whispered under his breath. The leader of the warriors stepped forward, her voice sharp. "Do you not see, human? You did not save a stranger. You saved the daughter of the stars. Healer of the tigers, chosen of our people by our ancient oath, you are now bound." The tribe roared in unison. Tigers lifted their heads and roared with them. The sound shook Daniel's bones. His heart raced as panic threatened to take over. The girl's eyes softened for just a moment as she looked at him. Then she raised her hand again. The crowd grew silent. She spoke a single word, her voice like a command: "Bride." Gasps spread through the gathering. Drums pounded again, slower now, deeper. Daniel's blood froze, his heart hammered in his chest. Bride. Did she just say bride? The warriors around him moved closer, their spears lowered. Not in threat, but in ritual. The air grew heavy. Daniel could barely breathe, the leader explained, her words cutting like blades. "When you gave her water, you gave her part of your life. To heal her, you shared your spirit by our law. There is only one way to bind such a gift. You must become one. She is your bride now." "And you are hers." Daniel staggered back, his voice cracked. No, I didn't mean. I only wanted to help." But the tribe ignored his words. Their eyes glowed with something between reverence and hunger. They saw him not as a stranger anymore, but as part of their destiny. The girl stepped closer, her hand lifted, fingers brushing against his arm. Her touch was warm, her eyes steady. "It is done," she whispered. "You gave me life, and now, life binds us." Daniel's chest rose and fell quickly. He felt trapped. Every instinct screamed to run. But the weight of thousands of eyes held him in place. Drums thundered again, louder and louder. The tigers roared in unison. The crowd began to chant a single word, over and over, bride, bride, bride. Daniel's vision spun. He could hardly think. He stared at the girl, the daughter of the stars, and for the first time, he realized something terrifying. This was not just a ritual, this was destiny, and whether he wanted it or not, he was now part of it. The forest was quiet that night. The fire burned low, and the human sat with the alien girl beside him. Neither of them spoke much, but the silence was not empty. It was heavy, full of questions neither dared to ask. The human looked at her face in the firelight. Her skin glowed faintly, not like human skin but like soft moonlight trapped inside flesh. Her eyes, however, told another story. They were tired yet sharp. They had seen things no human could imagine. She glanced at him, caught him staring, and quickly looked away. For the first time she looked shy, then a sound broke the moment. A low growl echoed from the forest. Not one, but many. The human stood, picking up a stick. He knew it was foolish. What could a stick do against tigers? But his instincts told him to protect her. The alien girl did not move. Instead, she closed her eyes and whispered something in her strange language. The growls stopped. The forest fell silent again. The human's heart pounded. He turned to her. "What did you do?" She opened her eyes slowly. "They listen to me, they obey. But they are not mine. They belong to the tribe." Her voice trembled. She seemed afraid, not of the beasts, but of what he might think of her. The human lowered the stick. "You saved me. Again." She looked at him with sudden intensity. "No, you saved me first. When I was weak. When no one else cared." The fire cracked between them. For a moment the world felt very small, just the two of them in the dark, surrounded by dangers yet bound by something invisible. The next morning, everything changed. The tribe arrived. The ground shook as dozens of massive striped tigers padded into the clearing. Their riders sat tall and proud, their armor made from bones and glowing stones. The human's breath caught in his throat. It was like watching warriors out of legend. At the front rode a figure unlike the others. She was taller, older, her presence commanding. Her hair shimmered with streaks of silver, and in her hand she carried a long spear tipped with crystal. The alien girl beside him stood, her body tense. She dropped to one knee in front of the tall rider. The human froze. He did not understand their words, but he understood the meaning. This was no ordinary tribe. This was a queen. The queen dismounted and approached. Her eyes fell on the human, and for a long time she said nothing. Then in broken human words she spoke. "You gave water." The human swallowed. He nodded slowly. The queen's eyes narrowed. "To her." She gestured at the alien girl who still knelt. "Why?" The human hesitated. How could he explain something so simple? He took a deep breath. Because she was hurt. Because she needed help. The queen studied him. Then to his surprise she smiled faintly. It was not warm, it was sharp, dangerous, like a knife hidden in silk. "You are strange. Humans fight. Humans take, you give." The human did not know what to say. His hands tightened at his sides. The queen raised her hand. At once, two warriors brought forward a large bundle wrapped in white cloth. They placed it at the human's feet. He looked down, confused. Slowly, he unwrapped the cloth. Inside was food, glowing stones, and a piece of fabric woven with symbols. He looked up in shock. The queen's voice cut through the silence. A gift, for kindness, but also a test. Her eyes gleamed. "What will you do with what we give?" The human's heart raced. He could feel every warrior's eyes on him. He felt the alien girl's gaze most of all, full of hope and fear. He swallowed hard. He wanted to keep it. He wanted to share it. But he also knew this was no ordinary gift. It was something more. He bowed his head slightly, his voice steady. "I will not waste it." The queen's lips curved into something almost like approval. But then she leaned closer, her voice dropping so only he could hear. "Tomorrow, we bring more, not food, not stone, bride." The human froze. His mind went blank. Did he hear that right? Before he could respond, the queen turned and mounted her tiger again. The warriors followed her, vanishing into the trees like ghosts. The clearing was quiet once more. The human stood in shock, his hands trembling. The alien girl rose slowly to her feet, her expression unreadable. She looked at him, her lips parting as if to speak, then closing again. The silence between them was heavier than ever. The human stared at the forest where the tribe had gone. His heart thundered in his chest. Tomorrow they would return, with a bride, and he had no idea what that meant for him, or for her. The night after the Queen's visit was long and heavy. The human could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the Queen's sharp smile. Her words echoed again and again. Tomorrow, we bring more, not food, not stone. Bride, what did she mean? Bride for him? Bride for someone else, why? The alien girl sat close to the fire. She too was silent, but he noticed her hands, tight, clenched, restless. She was troubled. She knew something he didn't. Finally, he whispered, "Tell me, what does it mean?" Her eyes lifted slowly, the fire reflected in them, glowing like twin stars. "In my tribe," she said carefully, "a gift is not only a gift. It is a promise, a bond. When they give food, they expect loyalty. When they give stones, they expect strength. When they give a bride—" She stopped, her voice cracking. The human leaned forward. "When they give a bride?" She looked away, her face pale. "They expect forever." The fire crackled. The forest whispered. The human's breath caught in his throat. Forever. Morning came too quickly. The sound of drums shook the ground. The human stood at the edge of the clearing, his chest tight. The alien girl stood beside him, her arms folded tightly across her chest. Then the tribe appeared again, riders on tigers, their armor shining in the sun. This time the Queen rode in silence, her face unreadable. Behind her, 4 warriors carried something covered in red silk. The human's mouth went dry. The silk dropped. A figure stepped forward. She was tall, graceful, her hair flowing like dark rivers down her back. Her face was covered with a silver veil, her arms painted with glowing marks. Around her waist was a chain of crystal bones that shone with power. She walked slowly, each step measured, as if the earth itself made way for her. The Queen raised her hand. "Bride," the human's stomach twisted. He looked at the alien girl beside him. She stood frozen, her eyes wide with shock. The veiled bride stopped only a few feet away from him. Slowly, she lifted her veil. Gasps came from the warriors. The human's eyes widened. It was not a stranger. It was her, the same alien girl who had drunk from his bottle, the same girl he had carried through the forest, the same girl who had sat with him by the fire, but she was different now. She looked like another person, like a queen in her own right. The human's heart thundered. His voice shook. "You—" Her lips trembled. She whispered, "Yes." Confusion ripped through him. Why her? Why would they call her a bride? His bride? The Queen's voice cut through his thoughts. "She is ours, but she is also yours now. You gave water. You gave life. You gave choice. That is stronger than blood, stronger than law." The human tried to breathe, tried to speak. "I didn't. I never asked." The Queen leaned closer, her eyes cold and sharp. "And yet you hold her fate. Do not waste it," the tribe roared, their drums echoing through the trees. The tigers growled like thunder. The alien girl, no, the bride, stood before him, her body trembling. Her eyes begged him to say something, anything. The human's mind was chaos. He never wanted power. He never wanted a tribe's attention. He only wanted to help someone in need. But now that small act had grown into something much larger. He clenched his fists. His voice came out low. "What if I refuse?" The Queen's smile faded. For the first time, her face grew cold as stone. "Then you insult the tribe." "And insult is war." The drums stopped. The forest went silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. The human looked around. Warriors stared at him, their hands on their weapons. Tiger's eyes glowed, waiting. His chest tightened. He looked at the girl, his bride, though not by his choice. Her face was pale, but her eyes were not afraid. They were full of something else. Hope. He felt the weight of that hope pressing on him. The Queen spoke again, her voice like a blade. "Decide. Take her, or fight us all." The silence stretched like a rope ready to snap. The human's breath shook. His heart hammered. He looked at the girl, then at the tribe, then back at her again. He opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, a deep roar shook the ground. From the shadows of the forest, another tiger appeared, larger than the rest. Its stripes glowed with blue fire, its fangs sharp as daggers. On its back sat a rider, armored, silent, terrifying. The Queen's eyes widened. The warriors shifted uneasily. The alien girl gasped. She whispered almost too quietly for him to hear. No, not him. The human's blood turned cold, whoever this rider was. Even the queen seemed shaken, and the rider's gaze, dark, heavy, filled with something ancient, was fixed not on the tribe, not on the queen, but on the human himself. The human swallowed hard. His body went cold. The queen whispered only one word. Challenger. The air turned heavy as the new rider stopped his glowing tiger at the edge of the clearing. The beast's paws sank into the earth, its breath steaming like fire, its eyes burning with blue light. The warriors of the tribe lowered their drums, their chants silenced. Even the queen did not speak. All eyes were on him. The rider they called the Challenger. The human felt his heartbeat in his throat, his legs stiff, his fists tight. This rider was different from all the others, taller, heavier, wrapped in black iron armor that shimmered faintly with strange symbols. No face could be seen behind his mask, only two red lights glowing where eyes should be. The alien girl clutched the human's sleeve, whispering, "You don't understand. If he came, it means fate itself is being tested." The human frowned. What fate? She looked at him, her voice breaking. Yours. Mine. And the tribe's. The Challenger swung down from his tiger with a movement too smooth, too powerful. He walked across the clearing, each step shaking the ground. The tribe parted before him, even the queen, who moments ago stood proud, lowered her head as he passed. Finally, he stopped in front of the human, his presence towering, pressing down like a storm. The queen spoke, her voice softer now. "He has come to judge whether you are worthy of the bond you have made." The human's chest tightened. "I didn't make a bond. I gave her water, that's all." The Challenger's voice rumbled, deep and cold as if the earth itself spoke. "No act is small when it saves life. No gift is empty when it changes fate. You gave water, and in doing so, you tied your thread to hers." The alien girl lowered her gaze, tears welling in her eyes. "It is true. You gave me more than water. You gave me choice. You gave me tomorrow." The human's hand shook. "And now I must pay for that? With her life? With mine?" The Challenger's mask tilted, studying him. "No, with truth," he said slowly. "You must prove if your heart is strong enough to carry what you started." The queen raised her hand, the drums thundered again. The tribe circled them both, warriors forming a ring, their tigers crouching low, watching, waiting. The human's throat dried. "And if I refuse?" The Challenger turned slightly, his glowing eyes locking with him. "Then the girl is lost to the void and your name becomes dust." The alien girl gasped. "No." She stepped forward, but two warriors blocked her path. Her eyes burned with desperation as she shouted, "Don't let him decide for you. Don't let them trap you." But it was too late. The circle had closed. The challenge had begun. The queen's voice cut sharp through the air. "Test of heart. Test of fire." The tribe roared, their voices shaking the leaves from the trees. The Challenger raised his arm and a weapon appeared. Not steel, not stone, but something alive. It was a blade of shifting light. Pulsing like a beating heart, he pointed it at the human, the glow painting his mask in crimson. The human's breath caught. He had no weapon, no armor. Only his hands, only his will. He looked at the alien girl, her eyes full of terror, full of trust, and in that moment something inside him shifted. He clenched his fists, straightened his back, and whispered to himself, "I didn't come here to fight, but if fight is the only way, I will not step back." The drums boomed like thunder. The Challenger charged, his blade sweeping down with a force that could split stone. The human moved, fast, instinct guiding him more than thought. He rolled aside, the blade cutting into the earth where he had stood. Sparks flying like stars. The tribe roared, some in anger, some in awe. The Challenger turned, slow, relentless, his presence like a mountain. The human backed away, breathing hard, searching for anything, any stone, any stick, something to defend himself. But then he remembered, not stone, not stick, not blade, water. He still had his canteen strapped to his side, half full. The Challenger lunged again, the blade sweeping close. The human pulled the canteen free, twisting, splashing water across the ground between them. The Challenger's blade struck the wet earth, and for a second, the glow dimmed. A hiss rose like steam against fire. The tribe gasped, stepping back. The queen's eyes widened, her lips parting. "Impossible." The alien girl's voice rose, trembling. "It is not the blade." It is his gift. Water against fire, the human's chest heaved, his hand still gripping the canteen. He realized something then, something terrifying and powerful. It was not weapons or strength that gave him a chance here. It was the very same act that began it all, water. The challenger's mask tilted as if considering him more carefully now. The glowing eyes burned brighter. "You are not weak," he said, his voice rumbling low. "But strength is not yet proven." He raised his blade again. Slower, more deliberate. This test has only begun, the human swallowed hard, his canteen trembling in his hand. The alien girl pressed her palms against the edge of the circle, whispering desperately, "Don't give up. No matter what. Don't let them take you." The queen's voice rang out. "Round 2. The drums thundered louder, shaking the earth. The challenger advanced once more, the blade glowing brighter, burning hotter, and the human braced himself, heart pounding, knowing the next strike would decide everything. The ground shook with the sound of drums, the air thick with dust and fire. The challenger raised his glowing blade again, every swing heavier, brighter, hotter. The human's arms trembled, sweat pouring, his chest burning with every breath. He had nothing but a half-empty canteen, nothing but the will to survive. The alien girl's voice cut through the chaos, desperate, trembling. "You don't understand. They don't want your death. They want your heart to break." Her words struck him harder than the blade. He looked at her, eyes wide. "What are you saying?" The challenger's mask turned to the girl, then back to the human. His voice was deep, steady. "If you truly gave her life, prove you can protect it, not just for one moment, but for all." The human's chest ached, his throat dry. This wasn't a fight of strength. It wasn't about weapons, it was about something deeper. Choice, courage, the will to carry another's future. The challenger swung down with earth-splitting force. The human dodged again, barely. Rolling through the dust, the blade sliced the air. Sparks flying, the tribe roared, their voices shaking the night. Some shouted for blood, some for honor. The queen raised her hand, her voice cutting sharp. "This ends now." "Harder, Ash." The challenger lunged. Faster this time, no hesitation. The human stumbled, the blade flashing toward him, and then the alien girl broke through the circle, running forward, her arms spread wide, standing between them. "Stop!" she cried. He already proved his heart. "You blind fools." The crowd gasped. The warriors reached for her, but she stood strong. Her voice rang louder than the drums. "He gave me water when no one else would. He gave me life when even the sky abandoned me. What more must he give?" The human froze, his chest heaving. The challenger stopped mid-strike, the blade hovering inches from her. The red lights in his mask flickered. Softer, weaker. The queen narrowed her eyes, her hands trembling. The silence that followed was heavier than any roar. The human finally spoke, his voice hoarse but steady. "She's right. I didn't come here to fight. I came here because I saw someone suffering, and I couldn't walk away, that's all. That's enough." His hand shook as he raised the canteen, holding it out for all to see. "This, just water, is what you all fear, but this is what saved her. Not fire, not blood, not blades, just kindness," the tribe murmured, voices rising like a wave. The queen's lips parted, unsure, her mask of power cracking. The challenger lowered his blade, the glow dimming until it was gone. He dropped it into the dirt, the light fading like dying embers. Slowly, he removed his mask, and beneath it was not a monster, not a demon, but an old warrior. Scarred, eyes weary, his voice was low, tired. "I wanted to see if you would stand, even when fire turned against you. You did, you gave not with strength, but with spirit." He turned to the queen, his voice heavy. "The trial is ended, the human is worthy." The tribe roared, not in anger this time, but in awe. Drums pounded in celebration. Tigers roared to the skies. The queen's face hardened, then softened. She raised her staff high, her voice echoing across the valley. "By fire, by heart, by fate itself, the bond is sealed." The alien girl gasped, tears in her eyes. She turned to the human, whispering, "Do you understand what this means?" The human shook his head, still dazed. "No, what does it mean?" She took his hand, pressing it against her chest, her heart beat fast, wild. "It means I am yours and you are mine by their law, by their vow. I am your bride." The human's breath caught, the world spinning. "What? Bride?" The tribe erupted in cheers, warriors pounding their chests, tigers leaping and roaring in unison. The queen's voice boomed above it all. Bring the feast. Bring the fire. Tonight we celebrate the union of heart and courage. The human stood frozen, his hand still in hers. The alien girl smiled through her tears, radiant. I begged for life. You gave it, and now they give me to you. The human's mind raced. Yesterday he had only been a wanderer in the desert, a stranger on alien soil. Today, he was tied to a tribe, to a girl, to a destiny he had never imagined. The challenger placed a hand on his shoulder, firm, steady. Do not fear, human. This is not a chain, it is an honor, rare and eternal. Take it, and the tribe will ride with you, fight with you, die with you. The human looked around, the roaring tribe, the glowing tigers, the queen's piercing gaze, and finally, at the girl who looked at him as if he were the only light left in the universe. He exhaled slowly, a smile breaking through his shock. Then I'll take it if it means I never have to see her beg again. The tribe roared louder. The drums shook the stars. The tigers rose on their hind legs, their roars rolling like thunder. The alien girl wrapped her arms around him, whispering against his ear. You didn't just give me water. You gave me a world. And as the firelight rose, painting the desert gold and red, the human stood with her in his arms, surrounded by warriors, tigers, and songs, no longer a stranger, no longer alone, but the man who gave water, and won a bride beneath 2 suns.